God's Country, Saturday afternoon, all Florida State, 66-10. 498 yards rushing. It is the most ever in school history. But the attention turns to Friday night. Can they win in Charlottesville, Virginia? Now, Lawrence-Stample, he is our Florida State analyst, and he is a business owner right here in Duval. Nile, I know you made the trip this weekend. Thoughts on another dominant effort against, a subpar team, but we've seen big-time programs over the years play to the level of competition.
Agreed, and they struggle, especially when it comes to the little things when it comes to these games. So I was happy with what I saw. There was definitely some stuff to clean up that I think we could have done a little bit better at, but it's all things that we can fix in the film room. So let's get those things fixed and squared away. But I was happy with the effort that we saw, and it was a great showing.
Micah Danzy, what's going on here now? I mean, what a weapon he has already been, but what could be moving forward.
Yeah, and what's the most interesting part about Micahi Danzy is that it doesn't always translate, right? Being a track star doesn't always kind of correlate to being like an elite wide receiver. And it's really cool to see because Gus has been able to get him in some opportunities for him to really be able to use his speed. But the catch that he had during Kent State has really kind of changed his trajectory as far as when it comes to being an elite receiver in this league. I think there's an opportunity there. Though it was Kent State, I think it was still a really good catch contested that we could hopefully see some more going on into the future with.
Yeah, Florida State's had some world-class guys over the years. I can go back to Philip Riley in the mid-'90s, but they didn't make plays like we saw here with Danzy. And, we've seen him on the reverses. That's something that you get week to week, the 64-yard touchdown run, Nile, but receptions of 65 yards and 47 yards using his athleticism, his speed, and also his ups.
Yeah, it's crazy. So when you're watching this Alabama game, so he had this reverse and he came over and it looked like a lot of the Alabama players got kind of dogged for loafing and whatever, but there was a few players that were close. When you're playing defense, it's all about reactions. You are not making real conscious decisions. Your body does it on purpose, right? Because you've been practicing it over and over. Micahi Danzy's speed was so fast that the players felt close, but they never triggered. Their bodies never triggered to actually hit him because he was moving so quickly. It is a really crazy speed that we're seeing out of this guy. I'm excited for Gus to be able to play with him and be able to have some opportunities to get him in space.
I think the only, not concern, but what you're looking for right now is they haven't had an opportunity because they've been so dominant in these last two games to really consistently go to their playmakers. It seemed like they really wanted to showcase Gavin Sawchuk on Saturday, that he is the premier back with Roydale Williams, out, and we'll see if he's able to go coming up on Friday night. What do you make? Again, you look at their leading rushers, it's Danzy. Then it's Castellanos. And then it's, your fifth string back here out of Fleming Island in Singleton. It's not the top three running backs that most rosters across the country have as their leading rusher.
So one thing, and obviously, I think one thing that you're going to see a little bit more of is that situation. So if we're coming into the season and we have a couple teams that aren't really great, we want to try to get our young guys up. We have guys in the stable that have consistent playing time at big universities. There's really no reason to show and have them be in a situation of getting injuries or anything like that since they've already proven themselves. The lights are not too bright and it's been shown. So if the lights aren't too bright, let's get our young guys in there. Let's see who else we can help continue to stack this stable because our guys are showing up when it comes to this Friday night game.
Now Lawrence-Stample, our Florida State analyst, joining us. Florida State, a big winner against Kent State, 66-10. Ranked 8th in America, 3-0, but a big challenge coming up Friday night against Virginia. Where are you 3 games in with Gus Malzahn?
I love it. So it's crazy to think about that fact that Gus was kind of over it. Like he was like, listen, I want to retire. I want to kind of push out and get out of this game. And due to the relationship that Norvell has with him at Memphis, he was able to call him up on a personal level, right? And say, hey, how about you just come and coordinate? Like, I don't need you to do all the extra stuff. I just need you to coordinate. And it seems like it made sense for him after kind of pondering on it for a little bit. So it's something that we've already talked about that I think is going to be more common is seeing these coaches come in and these big coaches come in and be coordinators. But it was awesome awesome for Norvell to be able to kind of pull back into a relationship that he had and be able to get such a huge asset for Florida State right now.
Tony White's defense, they haven't allowed a rushing touchdown all year. He had to address the UCLA rumors. He's a UCLA alum. What have you seen so far that you like with Tony White?
It's been, I think his game planning has been interesting. This last game against Kent State, he really didn't show any much looks. Like, we really ran a regular base front. Sometimes we ran a little bit of three, but more or less we were in base. He didn't really want to show much. He really wanted to see what it was, at least in my perspective. He wanted to see what players can just be disciplined. Because it's hard to be disciplined when it comes to all the different variables and having his guys move around and showing these blitz and stunting and stuff, because there's so much going on. And he knows the ones can do it, but there's no reason to do that. Let's see if our guys that are coming in as backups can show their discipline and be able to get after it. Let's see if you can make plays on a regular base.
All right, a lot on the line here Friday night. They're basically a touchdown, maybe a touchdown in a hook favorite on a Friday night in Charlottesville. This is a very good offensive football team. So it's your first game away from home, and then you have they're staring at you, prime time, 7:30 at night, a week away, your huge rival Miami. Another mental test first for Florida State against Virginia.
Yeah, it's one thing that this team is it's so different, because last year was a lot of obviously hopes and dreams. We're hoping that things can work, But this year, when you have players like Deuce, when you have players like Thomas Castellanos, who's obviously been speaking from the beginning since the time he got here, when you have those type of players and you have these established Earl Littles, these leaders that kind of command from the top down, it is really difficult to say that we're not going to be ready, right? It's very difficult to think that. So when you have those on top of talent like Tony White and a Gus Malzahn, it's really hard to think that we're not going to be prepared. So I'm not really worried, though their offense does look good, though their defense has some elite stats that they've been putting up. I think that when it comes to the leadership and the foundation that we've been able to build so far, the climb is climbing.
Yeah. When you look at the schedule, they probably didn't circle this Friday night game at Virginia, but now that you get closer to it, Nile, undivided attention of college football fans across America. This is the only game that's on Friday night. So when you hear trap game and they're looking ahead, wouldn't that erase it?
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny because I keep hearing this trap game and the upset and all this other stuff and looking forward, looking ahead. It is really difficult to look ahead. It is possible, but it's very difficult. You have these coaches that it is their job to scout. When you come in, the scout team, the players that are scout team are the actual players that we are playing. Their names, we're using them. We get to know who they are. We get to know where they're from, everything about these players. It is all that we are breathing for that week. And it is the coaching staff's a job to make sure that it's happening. So when it comes to looking ahead and looking to the next thing, it is really unlikely. Sometimes when that does happen, the other team just came more ready and more prepared to play. But at the end of the day, when it comes to a big university like Florida State, there is no looking ahead. It is the game that is directly in front of you.
I was at Doak Campbell Stadium as well on Saturday, and Thomas Castellanos lips off the field. It really took the breath out of everyone who was there. Norvell said, did some things. You don't think it's a concern, but it wasn't he took every snap today. And I mean, it was bland, and that's fine. Norvell, you don't have to, you're going to have to come up with an injury report. Coming up here, it's the first conference game. So that'll be beginning tomorrow, I believe, or maybe Thursday in college football, since this is year one with the ACC. But trying to figure out what percent is Thomas Castellanos before this football game.
Yeah, and we'll see. Hopefully it's nothing crazy, nothing too crazy, right? And as we kind of go into that, when we have a situation like that with Castellanos and he isn't as mobile, that still has to be something that we have to be able to push forward and work with. So I think Gus being able to see it, whatever it is, we are going to game plan in order to make sure that there's options on the table for him not to be as mobile if that's the case. But I think we'll be fine coming up.
Yeah, the one thing I wanted to see a little bit more of, I know we were talking before we went on air here, I wish Kevin Sperry got a little bit more burn on Saturday. He was 4 of 5 for 64 yards. So far on the season, 8 of 10 for 125 and 2 touchdowns. I think he's clearly the guy ahead of Brock Glenn. Now, we don't know if something happened to Castellanos. Would Norvell go with a veteran, a guy who has played before, both home and away, with Glenn as opposed to Sperry? But I would have liked to have seen a little bit more on Saturday.
Yeah, and I agree. I think he could have played a few more snaps. I like what I saw. I've liked what I have seen from Kevin, and it's really not the actual physical throws, it's the poise that he has, because the system that Gus puts in, there is a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of checks. There's a lot of things to be able to see, and in order for those plays to be able to be run to its maximum capacity. And I think that he runs them well. I think that he comes in and he feels confident. He looks confident. But when you have someone like Castellanos as your mentor, that's gonna bleed off, and that's gonna kind of spread to you. So I really like what I've seen with Kevin. I do think that is the front runner for Gus. I think Gus is looking for the future when it comes to that, and I think that we'll have a good showing if that were to be the case.
Florida State's been down 3 skill position starters. It feels like Randy Pittman, the tight end, and wide receiver Squirtle White will both be available Friday night for Virginia. Not sure yet on running back Roydell Williams, so you're getting some guys back.
Yeah, as well as Kevin Wynn. Yeah. Kevin Wynn is a guy coming back, and he's a big guy
true
coming
freshman.
in to be a true freshman.
Yep.
They were raving about him in fall camp. I think he may be a real opportunity to get some good quality depth that can hold the anchor down in the middle. He is an anchor guy. He is more of a nose tackle type D tackle. And with this defense, when it comes to when it comes to being able to stop on the goal line and those different things, having someone like him to be able to anchor that is huge. So I love him being able to come back, and I hope that he can get a few snaps and get warmed up come Friday.
Virginia's Chandler Morris is very accurate, 71% so far throwing the football this year. Give us your opinion. What do you think happens Friday night?
I think we're going to come in ready to go. I think Norvell's hair has been on fire. I think that we have so many tangibles that will allow us to have a successful season, and I think that coming into this game, we are going to be more prepared. There's a lot of doubt as far as the fan base is concerned, just because there's been so much inconsistency. But I think that this team has so many tangibles that make so much sense. So we'll see what goes on, but they're going to have to prove and be able to push and prove it to everyone that they belong to be in they belong in the top 10.
Rick Ballou here. Thank you so much for watching 1010XL Seminoles on YouTube. Before you click away, please like and subscribe to this channel. Be sure to check out other team-specific channels on 1010XL Network and YouTube.